God.
Hello. This is the anthem for today. Hello, ladies. Okay, we're going to turn our cameras on today. If you can, if you're in a spot where you can, let me make sure I'm recording. Let's turn our cameras on. This is going to be such a connective, engaging training that I want to be able to see you. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Catherine. Hello, hello. Can you also hear the music if I play it? Does it work? This song, Bringing Sexy Back, has been in my head since I started promoting this. And so I was like, I need to play it. It's such a vibe. Catherine, it's too early. Oh, no worries, Catherine. I understand. Oh my gosh, what time is it in Australia? Tell us. Thank you for joining all the way from Australia. That's amazing. 5 a.m. Oh my gosh, you're incredible. Okay, I'm gonna jump in because I have a lot to say on this topic. Okay, no worries, Stephanie. Well, I'm not doing any. I really felt today I wasn't supposed to do any slides. So even if it was just me talking to myself, that's what it's going to be. I really want today to be engaging. If you've never done a training with me, I'm very engaging. I think you have, Stephanie. And it's very like engaging, talking back and forth. I want to see in the chat if it's landing, if you have a question, all the things. So if you're able to turn your camera on, please do. I also had a mentor say this to me one time, and I was like, oh, again, I'm not guilting or shaming anyone, but she told me, she said, because I still show up to calls sometimes and think life is just happening. Life is lifing, right? I have 2 kids. I get it. But she said, be the dream client you want to have in your space. And I was like, oh man. And I remember that day, I did not look this cute, but I turned my camera on because I was like, okay, that's right. It's true. And so if you can turn your camera on, if you're watching the replay, of course you don't have to have your camera on, but I'm seriously so excited about today. This has been stirring in me for a couple weeks, and I finally began to articulate it and this is not what it's called, but I really feel like as women, it's time to make sales sexy again. So before we go in though, if you're here, let me know, drop it in the chat. How are you feeling? How do you feel about sales in general before we dive in? I'd love to hear where you're at with that. How do sales make you feel? How are you feeling today? Are you excited? Stephanie said she hates feeling pushy. 100%. I understand that. And I've been having more sales conversations around the actual sales part of it. We have someone in our life who I love who is doing network marketing. And I actually love network marketing. Like I don't do it, but like I fully stand behind. I know some people have feelings about it, but my husband said this is the reason people hate network marketing is because the way this person was doing sales. Okay, let's see. Catherine is feeling excited. Amazing. Stephanie, doubting that people are comfortable paying what I want to charge. 100%. Michelle, I'm pumped. Awesome. Okay. It's Michelle. It's the Michelle I know. Hi, Michelle. Okay. All right. So let me scoot this out. Okay, so I'm gonna jump in. This is gonna be so good. So if you're here, and I heard from all of you, right? If you're here, I know that one thing about you is that you're done. You're done feeling like this, right? You're done second guessing. You're done undercharging. You're done also waiting for like clients to magically find you, right? You're here because you want to start signing high paying clients, aligned clients. You want to feel confident about it. You want it to feel sexy. Like this is what I feel like. Oh, you want it to feel like, oh, this is easy. I love this. You want to be consistent in it. You don't want to feel pushy anymore, right? You want to feel like, oh, this is just what I do because I have a service that's so valuable. So we're going to jump into that today. So if you're ready, drop ready in the chat. I want to see it. I know there's only a couple of us here, so that's okay. Listen, I am showing up fully for the women who show up for themselves. You are the 10% of the 35 or however many women signed up. You are the 10%. So right now you are ahead of the curve. I just want you to know, okay? So one thing I promised I'd share about, and I want to ask you guys first. I think you kind of already answered it, right? You say you don't want to be pushy. the one thing I was like, okay, this is what I definitely wanted to share, but actually give you context. Because here's the other thing about my trainings is you're not just, you're going to feel, I want you to feel activated, but I'm actually going to activate you to take action, not just like, oh, I feel so inspired. I want you to actually move after this. We're going to do some stuff in the training. The way that I teach is like, I cannot leave you without, number one, doing something while we're together in this experience, but also giving you something to leave with and tangibly do. I'm a big firm believer that like listening, being inspired, all amazing, but then we actually have to act on it, right? It actually builds a trust with us in our body and our brain, that the connection of like, oh, I can do this. So the number one reason most women struggle to book high clients, do you think you know what that is? I'd love to hear it if you do in the chat. And listen, again, I'm super engaging. I let people unmute in trainings a lot. So if you want to do that, you're more than welcome. But what do you think the number one reason that most women struggle to book high paying clients, which is like struggle to sell? What's the number one reason? If you could take a guess. Not even putting yourself out there with people, not feeling confident. Yeah. Love it. Love it. Okay. Yeah. So what you both said is that you don't fully own your value. And I know that's such a like, "Ah." So this is what I said. This not feeling confident, that's kind of not fully owning your value. I want to show you what that actually means. Tell you what that actually means today. Because a lot of times on the internet, which I absolutely love, I love seeing women share and they're inspired and they're posting. But a lot of times when I read things, I'm like, well, what does it actually mean? Like, how do I apply that to my life? How do I own my value? Okay, you're telling me to own my value. What does that look like? So I've been on this journey of figuring this out for myself. And what I've realized is it's not about my offer, right? It's not about, let me let Kenzie in. It's not about your offer. It's not about your pricing. It's not even about fully your marketing strategy. Okay. Hi, Kenzie. If you want to put your camera on, please do. It's actually about the way that you're showing up. And so here's the funny thing. If you know my background, I was a virtual assistant first before I became a coach and launched an agency and all the things. People would always ask me, well, when you became a booked out virtual assistant, like what were you posting? And one day I was like, what was I posting? And I went back and my posts were horrible. I was looking at my posts and I was like, these are so bad. They were boring. They were like, well, you should hire a virtual assistant. You're not, all, and it wasn't even, so it's not, I want to dismantle that. Like you have to have the perfect listening and while playing with my son outside. I love that. I love that you guys are moms first. That's so important to me too. So I get it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. So looking back at my content, like your content, yes, you know what's cool about content? You just get better and better and better the more you do it, but it doesn't have to be groundbreaking viral all the time. Okay. Because looking back at my posts, I was like, what was I even doing? How did I land clients? Like I don't even know if I'd invest in that. But you know why? It's because I was certain, I was confident, I was owning the fact that I was the virtual assistant for whatever business owner landed on that post. Like the way I talked, the way I presented myself, right? It's because the high paying clients, they actually don't invest in uncertainty. They invest in leaders, in the women who command their worth, who they stand firm in their expertise. They sell with unwavering confidence. So I know someone said confidence, because you can have the perfect offer. Like you could have something that's like on paper, transformation, awesome. What you're getting, awesome. But if you're like, oh my gosh, I hope they buy, instead of like, this is the best investment you'll ever make for your business, then you're already on the losing side. Okay. So the best sales strategy, it isn't just a fancy script. I'm gonna give you some formulas. Like we're gonna do the thing in this call. But I first need you to understand that it's believing so deeply, which I think if you're here, you do, right? You believe so deeply in the transformation that you're providing to others that they cannot help but to believe it too, right? They're like, oh, I need this. There's people and there's so many, and we're not going to dive specifically into content today, but I'm sure you've heard there's strategy aware content, there's problem aware. Like when you believe so much in your content, someone can land on your page and not even think that they need what you have, I've done this, me and myself, landed on someone's page because a post caught my attention, the way she's showing up, and I go and somehow I'm now investing in her thing that I didn't even think I needed because of the way that she showed up. And she told me she was the one to solve the problem that I didn't even know I had before I landed on her page because she spoke so powerfully to that. So your belief in your offer has to be stronger than their doubt. Okay. So what does that actually look like? Let's talk about that. So what does owning your value actually look like? And it is confidence, but it's a little more than that. Okay. It's actually how you show up, how you speak, how you lead. And I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you some what it looks like to not own it, and then what it looks like to own it. And I'm going to give you an example of someone who I actually interviewed, and on paper, she looked amazing, but I literally could not get myself to hire her because of the way that she showed up. Okay. So here's what not owning your value is: apologizing for your prices. Again, if you're in the room here, I don't think you do that. I don't think you are apologizing, but you could be doing this. You could be over justifying them with like a long explanation of what you do. Like you get someone in the DMs talking about it. Oh, this, and this. Oh, and there's this. You're over explaining. You're hoping to prove what it's worth, right? You're like, oh, but it has this and it has this. Oh, and I can do this. Oh, I can absolutely do that, right? You're like over delivering, over explaining, watering down your expertise. You're trying to sound relatable. We're going to talk about that too. You're trying to be liked by everyone who comes in. You're trying to bring, it's a desperate energy where you're like, instead of you being like, is this even my dream client? Do I even want to work with this person? Because you know what's so cool about working for yourself? You get to choose. And you have to know that saying no to someone is actually a really, really powerful thing for your business. It's going to open the door to people who are supposed to come in your world. If you still feel nervous when you say your prices out loud, I've walked through a lot of clients through that, still feeling nervous, like, oh my gosh, could I charge this? And I could break down for you. Like I could break down your pricing and be like, yeah, absolutely. But you have to know that because I could see it. And if you come to me and you have an amazing offer and you tell me it's $1,500 and you've sold it really well, it doesn't even matter that's $1,500. I want the outcome that you're giving me because it's confident and you're bold and you're saying it confidently. You're showing up as the one who is like, oh my gosh, I have to work with her. So owning your value, it looks like saying your prices boldly. I want to hear, can you do that? Just saying your prices, especially if you've just done a rate increase, how does that feel? Tell me in the chat. Like, are you still like, oh, I kind of hesitate? Are you like, no, hard stop, this is my price? Do you try to like negotiate down? What if someone says to you, oh, okay, that's a little bit out of my range? What do you do? What do you do if someone's like, oh, okay, I can't invest in that? Are we still discounting? Are we still offering a discount? Like, oh, well, I could do this for that. What happens to you in that moment? Does it make you feel anxious? Like, do you feel, oh, does it make you question your worth? Because all these things are signs that you're not fully owning your value yet. And we're going to change that today. Because when you own your value, you're going to lead the conversation with certainty, right? Because you know that what you bring, and this is what I always say, I'm like, you're selling an offer. You've created an offer because the transformation, the results really matter to you, right? Like, of course, you're like, I know I could do this for my client. You're not a car salesman just working on commission, right? Like, you're like, no, I'm in it for my client to see the transformation. So when you own your value, you're going to stand firm, even if someone hesitates, because you know that the right clients, high paying clients, they don't need convincing. They might need some questions answered. So here's the other thing. Just because you get questions does not mean those are objections or no's. Sometimes they just need clarity. High paying clients probably have money because they're smart with their investments and they know that they need to invest. So they're just making sure that this is the right offer for them, but they don't need discounts. They just need some clarity sometimes around things. And when you own your value, you also create a buying experience where the clients, they feel empowered. They don't feel pressured to buy. They just feel empowered. Like they're like, oh my gosh, of course I have to do this. This is a no-brainer, right? So the biggest shift that you can make is to own your value. And people actually feel this before you even pitch, okay? Your confidence sells before you do. And I'm going to share that story after I read the chat. Okay, I internally hesitate, but try not to let it show. Also, I show starting prices on my website. Love it. So I can feel better that if they're on a call with me, they already feel like it's in the realm of possibility. I would hate blindsiding people. Absolutely. I actually recently told someone we weren't the right fit. Yeah, because of what you told me because I wasn't in their budget. I love that. That is honestly the most confident thing you can do for someone because I've been in a place where you want to make it work, but it's like you were worth the investment. And if what happens when we discount is we end up not only telling ourselves that we don't have trust in ourselves and what we can bring to the table, but there can grow a level of resentment there with that client because you know that you discounted it for them and you shouldn't have. And oh, am I over delivering? And it just causes something when you know you're worth what you charge and when you attract the right dream client, the relationship is like the most beautiful, beautiful thing. Kenzie said, I'm just starting as a VA, very hesitant to charge my prices, thinking of doing a discounted first 3 months so I can gain the confidence. I think you shouldn't. I think you shouldn't. I think you should price it for what it is. And then I'm gonna actually we're gonna go more into this, Kenzie. But I don't think you should. It's funny when I started so much advice about do work for free, offer. So what's the other word for discount? They would say offer, beta pricing, all the things. And I was like, I bring things to the table. Why would I do that? And I never did. I never did that. I landed my first high paying client at the rate that I would charge today. Okay. We'll talk about this. I struggle because I don't want to lose the client. I understand that. But I'm always like, you know what? If I were to lose a client, it just is opening the door for a client that has value. I love this. Okay, first of all, I love this engaging in the chat. This is my kind of chat. I think you guys got the energy, okay? This is so good. LOL, love that. Okay, I also recently launched some lower ticket one-time services that I can hold tight to my monthly prices, but I can offer that. Yeah, honestly, okay, so because you're a service provider, Stephanie, so that's not a bad strategy, having lower ticket. The one thing that I'm saying to not do, not owning your value, is offering the same thing at a discounted price. Now, if you're building a lower ticket offer, like this is literally a free masterclass. Like you did not have to pay to be in here. Does that mean I'm not owning my value? No, it means that I have something to share and I want to share it and look, you know what's so funny still about free stuff? One, two, three. There's one, two, three. There's 4 people in here right now and it's free and I am going to bring so much value. So that doesn't mean that I'm discounting my value, but it means that you're not going to get a 6-week experience from me from a free master, right? We're going to do an hour and I've poured into it, but I still know my worth. And I've allotted this time to pour into connections to deepen them, right? So I love if you're at a place where you can do the low ticket as well and get more people in your world. Because a lot of times too, I've had people do one-off projects with me or a shorter 3-month coaching instead of 6-month, and then they re-up because they're like, oh my gosh, I need more. And so I love that. And I think that's actually, you know what that is? That's just innovation, creativity in your business of like, hey, how can I serve more people? How can I broaden my impact? How can I bring in more income to my business in a way that will lead to the long term? So I love this. I love this. Okay. Okay, I'm sure you have you heard the phrase sales is an energy transfer? Because it is, it's totally, oh, let me tell you the story. Okay, let me tell you the story. So it's no one on this call. I just have to preface this, no one on this call. But when I was hiring for my agency, one of my was it first or second round? I think it was the very first round of hiring for my agency. I was on a call with someone and she looked great. She had all the things I wanted. I'm like, okay, she has all the experience, all the things. I jump on a call with her. And I want to show you the difference, okay? Because here's a really, really quick, easy way to change. I don't know. Tony Robbins always talks about changing your state, but something really powerful about just how you show up. My shoulders are back. I'm like really excited and smiley. This helps me be like, I know what I'm bringing to the table, right? We showed up on the call and she was very like, and right away, I'm like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, how are you doing? I'm so excited to chat. Oh, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. How are you? And I'm like, whoa, something is off. I'm like, well, you know what's funny though about that? I'm thinking, is she not excited to be here? Does she not want to work for the agency? Like, and very much, very like, oh, okay. And I'm not saying, you know what, you can be calm and still confident, okay? You don't have to be crazy to be confident. But she was just like timid. Okay, so like what are your prices? Like how do you work with clients? What does that look like? Um, so I mean, I can just do whatever you're thinking of. It was very, do you guys see the difference in like that? And yeah, so my pricing is my minimum package starts at 1,500. My 6-month coaching is 7,000. Like, do you see the difference in those two things? I immediately, even though I wanted to, because of her caliber on paper, I could not bring myself to hire her because of the way that she showed up, because I was not confident in her anymore, because she wasn't confident in herself. Because sales is an energy transfer. To me, it transferred that she wasn't interested. She actually just showed up just because, I don't know why, just maybe for experience. Yeah, seems scary from a high. It was scary. I was like, it seems like you're not excited to work with me. Why would I want to work with you? Right. And that's how it is in a sales conversation. I recently had a kickoff call too with someone on our team. And I'm like, there has to be a confidence that you carry in knowing what you do. And here's the thing, if you're on this call, I know that you're confident what you're doing. So be that. Be the confident person. Even you don't even, it's so powerful too when I've had people ask me, well, what if they asked you something and you don't know how to do it? I'm like, well, I can figure anything out. My thing is everything is figure outable. So if they're like, hey, well, can you do this? Can you help me with that? Oh yeah, absolutely. We can do a plan for that. Does that mean I'm just blindly saying yes? No, it means I'm going to figure out how to do this for that client, for whoever that person is, whatever. I'm going to do some research on my end because everything's figure outable and I'm going to deliver it in the most powerful way I can. There's something really powerful about that. Okay. So here's the other thing about sales. How are we feeling? Is everyone feeling good? Deep breath. I have so much to say. I'm so excited. I have different things we're going to touch on. Let me know in the chat how you're doing. Okay, because we're going to shift a little bit. We're going to shift into some other things about sales. There is so much I wanted to say in this call that I had to make sure I honored the time. Loving it. Good. I'm glad. I also like this. I'm open for questions. If something's landing, if you have a question about something I say, drop it in the chat. I would love to elaborate on it. Okay. So sales is about calling in the right people. And it's also about repelling the right people. Okay. So part of sales, I'm going to move my notes over here so it stops like looking like I'm not looking at you guys. I mean, you guys aren't on the screen, but you know what I mean. So a part of sales is repelling the right people. It's okay. It's being okay with offending people. Because did you know that not everyone is supposed to be in your offer? Right? We know this, right? You can think of someone or a character type that you're like, yeah, I would not want to work with that person. So you have to be okay with repelling people. So I always ask clients, I'm like, well, why are you talking to them? Why are you talking to everyone? Right. And I've actually made the mistake of attracting the wrong clients. I've been there. And you know what? I teach from everything I've done and I know. I've offered discounts when I shouldn't. And then feeling like I let them down when they didn't show up and they didn't do the work because I offered the discount. It's not as valuable. I actually didn't let them down. They just weren't the dream client. They weren't ready to rise up and step into that powerful CEO woman. So that's not selling, right? That's not selling. That's self-sabotage disguised as service. When you're speaking to everyone, when you're giving discounts, when you're not owning your value. That's not selling, that's people pleasing at the expense of your own success. And we're done with that. We're not people pleasing. Okay. And I've been there, I've done it. So when you discount your value, whether it's through your pricing or just accepting anyone that will pay you, when you're just like, oh, you'll pay me, let's do it. You don't just lower the price, you actually are lowering your standards in your business. And you're losing that trust with yourself. You're not feeling aligned. You're not feeling energized. You'll have a one-on-one call with someone. Let me let Lindsay in. And it won't feel good. I've had those clients where I'm having a call. Hi, Lindsay. Feel free to put your camera on. Me and you would be the only ones. But you're having a call. Like I've had moments where I'm like, this was not my dream client, and now I'm not wanting to show up to the call. And that's not a good feeling, right? So we got to keep our standards high. So the clients that pay, even when it feels stretchy, because that's a good thing, right? To feel stretched, like an investment is stretchy, are the ones who ask questions, but they don't need the convincing. Okay. These are the ones who show up, they get results, they respect the transformation, and they actually respect you as the facilitator of the transformation. So they've come to you for your expertise. They've come to you for your guidance. They've come to you and they respect you for what you bring to the table and the transformation that you've promised them, which again, this is not teaching on I'm not teaching you about your actual transformation because I trust that every single woman in here has a powerful transformation or you wouldn't be here. So selling isn't about convincing, it's about inspiring the right people to walk with you. And I'm like, should I say this? I think did I delete it from my notes? I think I did. No, it's down here. Okay, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait to say it. Let me see. Let me see if it makes sense. Why did I move it down here? I wonder. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see. I'll wait. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna follow my notes, girls. I'm gonna follow my notes. I'm not gonna get distracted. Okay. So, okay. So here's my question to you. Be honest. Okay. I want you to be honest. I want you to put in the chat. How much longer are you willing to wait to show up as this person? Because how many times have we been like, okay, well, when I get more followers, I'll start charging more. When I sign a few more clients, I'll feel confident. When I refine my messaging, I'll start selling easier. So how much longer are you willing to wait? And I hope the answer is I'm not. I'm done waiting. I am done. This has to happen now. Yes, that's the answer right there. I love it. This has to happen now. Because here's the thing, we all started at zero, okay? Sales are not, yes, same, it's literally now. Sales are truly not supposed to feel this hard. And if they do, there's a reason, and we're gonna fully expose that today. We're gonna keep going. I'm gonna dive deeper. If you have questions, if you're like, I really have this burning question about sales, drop it in the chat. I might be covering it, but I want to make sure it gets answered. Okay. So here we're going to talk about 3 things that are important that you have to have when you're making sales sexy again. Okay. And here's the thing, things that you can continue to refine. So if I read these to you and you're like, oh, I don't know if I have those perfectly, that's okay. The beautiful thing about business too is you just grow and you evolve and you change and you fix things and you get better and better and you tweak. And like I said at the beginning, my messaging as a virtual assistant was so terrible when I first started my business. And now it's a whole new level, right? I've done the work. I've invested in coaches and masterminds and things where I can be like, oh, this is how. And now I'm teaching about sales. Okay. So it gets better and better. But the thing is, you have to do it or it'll be the same. The amount of posts that I've made to get to where I'm at now and work with the clients I work with now is all because I kept showing up and kept revising and tweaking and leaning in and listening and learning. Okay. And that's what you're doing today. So here are the 3 things. You got to have a brand story. You got to have potent messaging. And then and we're going to talk about all 3 in a minute. You actually have to have a powerful sales message. So an actual sales message. Okay. So your brand story is the bigger movement and the mission behind your business, which this one should be a no-brainer, right? You already know why you started your business. You might need to go a little deeper. You might need to share it a little bit more because this is what people connect to emotionally. And it's not just what you do, it's why what you do matters. So the deeper movement, the emotional connection, the mission that makes people feel compelled to work with you. So for me, it's like I got laid off from my 9 to 5 with no notice, 30 days. I was out of options. Like, oh my gosh, what do I do? The safety net just pulled from under my feet. Did not know where to go next and was like, okay, this is a time to go all in on myself. Thank you for this. Now I can fully say thank you. Back then I was like, what is happening? But that's my story and it connects to a lot of people because either they've been laid off, they're in a 9 to 5 that they'd actually like to be off of. They understand the feeling of not feeling safe, right? Because people don't just buy offers or buy coaching. They buy the people, they buy the stories, they buy the values, they buy the missions. So a strong brand story actually creates trust, loyalty, emotional investment. It makes your audience feel like they're a part of something bigger than just a transaction. Because again, the work you do is bigger than just a transaction. For me, impact is a huge part of what I do. I'm sure that it's for you as well, regardless of what kind of business you're in, a service provider, a coach, a product-based business. Okay. I'm going to give you a couple questions to answer. I guess I could put them in the chat too. A couple questions to answer if you don't know your brand story or if you're like, hey, should I develop it further? So what am I here to change? This is in you. What are you here to change? What do you stand for? Those are questions you can answer. It's really important to know what you stand for, right? Why does this work matter to you? What's the deeper reason behind your business? I'm going to put these in the chat. Oops. Where's the chat? There we go. What does it stand for? Okay. And how does this impact your audience lives beyond just making money? What do they become a part of when they work with you? I struggle with being honest in my brand story while also still seeming credible. I haven't been in business that long. That's okay. And regardless of how long you've been in business, you still have a brand story that drove you to starting your business. Whether that's just as simple as I don't think you have kids, Stephanie, but I'm missing out on time with my kids. I want that time. Or I am seeing my life is passing me by and I hit that moment where I can't do this anymore. I want to make a difference. I want like there it doesn't have here's the thing. Great. This is a great. Thank you for bringing that up, Stephanie, because it doesn't have to be some like great monumental thing either. It can be something the reason behind why you decided to go into business. And here I'm going to put these questions here. They're italicized, so hopefully they're not hard to read. You can copy those and answer those questions. When I started my business and in the evolutions of my business, I've sat down and answered these questions again because it's important. Because again, what we're doing is making sales sexy, is making money, but also what's coming with that, the impact, right? That is the biggest piece for me. I'm sure for you. Beyond just making money, what is it? Like what are you helping your audience do? And if you're like, I think Stephanie, if I'm correct, you're a service provider, you're helping businesses that need it. They need what you have to offer. Okay. It is important. It is important. Okay. Number 2 is potent messaging. I chose potent as the word because I was like, I think this is clear. It's potent. It's powerful, right? So when you talk about what you talk about to attract the right audience, okay? And then this is where we're also going to turn the people away. We're going to repel people. So you're going to be a magnet for the right clients, a filter for the wrong ones, okay? So most people, messaging has become such a like blah word on the internet. Magnetic messaging and blah, blah, blah. And it's true though, but I want to go a little bit deeper because it is powerful. You do need to have messaging that speaks to the right people, right? And most people think that it's just about attracting clients, but what like I talked about earlier, what I think the real power is actually just about repelling the wrong ones too. That's super powerful. And like someone said earlier, like even having it on your website a starting price, you're repelling clients immediately who cannot afford that. So when your messaging is potent, when it's clear, when it's polarizing, it calls in the right people. It turns away the ones who were never meant to work with you. And that is such a good thing. Can I emphasize that this is such a good thing? Okay. Why? Because watered down messaging is going to attract lukewarm clients. We don't want lukewarm clients. We don't. If like we talked about, if your content is trying to be for everyone, it's not fully resonating with anyone. It's not fully resonating if you're not speaking to the right people that you want. If you're scared to turn people away, like we talked about earlier, you're actually going to keep attracting the people who are misaligned, not committed, the ones who are price shopping, right? And if your messaging is built to please people, instead of positioning you as the authority, doesn't mean you can't be relatable, doesn't mean you can't share your story, but you're the person they should go to if they have this. If you have this X problem and you want Y, come to me and you'll get Z, right? Because you want the people who are going to fully buy into the transformation that you bring. So this is actually where we want to turn people away. Oh, there's a hot question. Hi. Okay. How personal or deep should we go with brand story? This is such a great question. I think this has to be up to you and where and how deep you want to go. But I think that if you're at a place where you're not sharing because you're afraid or you don't want to say, I think there's so much freedom in just sharing and just sharing that part. There might be a part that you're like afraid, hey, Kristen, that you're afraid to share. That might be the most freeing part, the most relatable part, the most part that you might have like shame around. That's actually like, oh my gosh, someone needs to hear this. Someone needs to hear this because they in the same boat with you. So that has to be a personal thing, but also I like to reflect and be like, am I not sharing this because it's sacred to me? Or am I not sharing it because I'm afraid? Because I'm afraid of the reaction, because I'm afraid about what people are going to think, because I'm afraid about whatever, because I'm afraid I'm going to turn people away. Because again, that's actually a good thing. It's actually a good thing to repel people. So if someone, because here's a great reasons we want to repel people. If someone is looking for the cheapest option, my content should turn them away, right? If someone is looking for a business coach who's just going to coddle them and tell them what they want to hear, my messaging should turn them away. I am not that person. Someone wants to pick my brain for free instead of investing the positioning that I have, my messaging that I've put into the world, it should turn them away. They should know like, oh, you know what's funny though? This is free. This is free. But to have a one-on-one experience with me, that's not free because that's so personalized. I am taking time. I'm a huge fan of experience, taking time to answer your questions, which I love. Thank you. Please keep asking. But you have to be okay with turning people away because every yes from the wrong client is actually, it's going to be taking up space for the dream clients who are meant to work with you, who are always meant to work with you. And I've experienced this over and over and over. I've had in my business, I landed a dream client, high paying client. The next week I had a discovery call with another client paying who wanted to pay me like I'm very bad at math, but like probably I think it was like $1,200 less per month. And I was like, went to my husband. My husband's name is Garrett. If you're in my world, you'll know that at some point his name is Garrett. Babe, Garrett, should I do this? Like it's extra income. We need it. I'm just starting out my business. I only have one or two clients. He's like, I don't understand. He's like, I don't understand. What do you mean? I'm like, well, it's an extra. I think she was trying to pay me like $500 a month. It's an extra $500 a month. That's gas, groceries, whatever. He's like, did he just sign someone for like $2,000 a month? I don't understand. And I'm like, you're right. Sometimes we just need someone to be like, to look at you and be like, you are so, and I'm looking at all of you, so much more valuable than that. Like you deserve to be paid high top dollar. And with everything in me that I didn't want to, didn't want to say no, I wasn't owning my worth. With everything in me, I was like, emailed her back. I was like, I'm so sorry. Cannot move forward. At this, this is not the amount, the investment. It's just not going to work. Cringing like, oh my gosh, I just lost this money. And then guess what happened 2 weeks later? I landed another client at the much higher rate, right? And so I truly believe, here's what I truly believe. If I would have said yes to that lower paying client, not only would I have resented that relationship, my boundaries are lower. I would have started taking on much lower clients. This is where people they offer discounts, they get burnt out, they get stressed, they know it's not working. Oh my gosh, I've done this so many times. You've crossed a boundary with yourself, you've broken trust with yourself. It's a pattern, it repeats, it cycles through. And then you wake up one day and you're like, what have I built? And how do I get out of it? And how do I escape? And so we have to be okay. We have to be okay. And sometimes you might need a mentor or someone to come in and be like, your husband, your partner, spouse, no, don't do it. Don't do that. That is not okay. Okay. So your messaging should create a clear fork in the road. Dream clients hear it and they think, oh my gosh, this is for me. I need to hire her. I am so in. Send me the link. Wrong clients hear it and they're like, oh my gosh, that's too much of an investment. I can't pay that. Why would someone pay that? Great. You are not the person for me. That's exactly what we want. Okay. My husband is totally out of the loop with the particulars of my business. I love how when I ask him about underselling myself, he's always like, no, yes, perfect. Keep husband right there. Keep him right there where he's the person who's like, what are you even saying? This makes absolutely no sense. I love that. So we want to be super, super specific, speaking to our dream clients, right?
Hey, what's up with this mess over here?
Oh, let me mute her. Tell them, Kenzie, to pick up their mess. Okay. So I'm gonna give like a real quick example of like a very clear, and this is like super like basic, but if we're speaking to business owners, right? Instead of saying you'll gain confidence in your business if you work with me, which like that's cool. You know what's wrong with that sentence though? Everyone needs confidence in their business. It's okay, Kenzie. Oh my gosh, it's totally okay. Everyone needs confidence in their business. So you're literally, the line is open for anyone. Anyone who reads that is like, oh my gosh, that's me. So the beginner, the intermediate, the advanced, they're all at some, even now, there's moments where I still need confidence. So switching it, getting really specific, potent messaging looks like you'll own your work. When you work with me, you're going to own your worth. You're going to raise your rates. You're going to sell like a CEO. It's going to be so much easier, right? It's very clear. Okay, here's where the example. This is not about politics, but you know someone who is so polarizing. I want to see if you can guess what I'm about to say. I just said it like 3 times. Who is so polarizing when you think about politics? You either love him or you hate him. And there's no in between. It's either like, no, he sucks, or no, he's the best thing that ever happened. Who would you say in politics right now? I mean, there's probably multiple. I'm thinking of one very clear. If you guys don't know, I'll be shocked because I was like, this is the person who literally does this. Oh, I want to see some guesses. I want to see some guesses. I cannot move on. I have to know if you know. Drop them in the chat. It won't be as fun if I just say it. The Orange Cheeto Man. Yes. Thank you, Kenzie. Yes. Right? Isn't that like, I'm like, honestly, this is the most perfect example. He is so polarizing. Like, you either cannot stand him, and this is not a politic thing. I don't care who you voted for. I'm not asking. But is that not like when you think of your messaging, I want you to be like, am I speaking like Trump? I'm just kidding. But this is a good example to follow of like, it's either like, hey, these are the people I'm calling in. These are the people I want in my world. These are not the people I want in my world. And being confident in that and owning that and being okay with that. We have to be okay with turning people away. And that's not because you don't want to serve them. Okay. We're not like doing this in a bratty, I'm better than you way. It's very much like I know the people I need to work with because of the transformation I bring, because of the activations I offer, because of the actions I expect them to take. These are my people. So you may need to spend some time writing that down today. Who is your dream client? What are her characteristics? Doing this in my business was really powerful, writing down the actual characteristics of my dream client, how she showed up. What does her day-to-day look like? Getting really specific, because then that also just helps you speak to her more clearly in your content. Okay. All right. The last thing, what time is it? Oh my gosh, it's 11:45. Do we have time? Yeah, we have time. Okay, great. We're doing great. How's everyone feeling? Feel free to drop it in the chat. Keep your questions coming. Okay, so the number three thing that you need is sales language. You're like, what the heck is that, Kaylin? Okay, so it's just the language that you use to get people to buy. But this is where I see a lot of women actually do this incorrectly. So this is where you need to be communicating the value, the desire, the transformation, and it needs to be so crystal clear. Okay, your sales message is what moves people from being interested to being in. Like, it's clear, it's compelling language that makes your dream client see your offer as the only solution to their problem. Because the truth is, there's so many things on the internet, but you know what's so amazing? One girl over here could have 500 people in her thing, and another girl over here could also have 500 people in their thing, and they could be selling the same thing. But because of your sales messaging and your sales language, you spoke to these 500 and not these 500. My puppy's barking, like dream barking. Zoom's probably not picking up on it, but wow, it's very distracting. If you can hear him, let me know. I did say I may show him, but he's sleeping. I can show you at the end. Just remind me. Okay, so without a strong sales message, without strong sales language, your content may attract attention, but it's not going to convert. So this is a struggle I had at the beginning of my business. Is I was attracting a lot of attention, which feels good, but it didn't feel great because it wasn't affecting the people I was serving. It wasn't bringing in more people, and it wasn't hitting my bank account. It was just feeling good. And I'd rather have content that converts, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you rather have content that converts instead of content that just makes you feel good? So what is a sales message, sales language that makes it effective. It must do these 3 things super clearly. We're all about 3s today, okay? So number 1, it must communicate the value. Number 2, it should activate desire and move them into action. And number 3, it should paint the transformation. I had a mentor, one of my mentors, say the other day, she was like, I don't want to inspire people. I don't want to inspire people. I want to activate you, which is what I love because I'm all about activating women. Because I told her that she's inspiring. She's like, that's like the weakest form of compliment for me. I don't want to inspire you. I want to activate you. Because when you get inspired, that doesn't mean you're taking action. But when you're activated and you're seeing what's possible for you, transformation, the desire, this is what's going to move you to action. Because you could be inspired all day, right? But you have to take action on it. So communicating the value, what makes your offer stand out? Why is it worth investing in? Activating desire that leads to action. Why should they want this right now? These are questions you have to answer about whatever offer you're selling. Why should they want this now? What's the transformation that they're craving that your offer, your service is going to deliver? You got to take them from feeling the inspiration of like, oh, that would be so cool. Oh, I would love to do that to, oh my gosh, I can't not do that. I have to do that. I have to get in. How do I get in? Send me a link, right? So when we're talking about painting the transfer, actually, let's go into this. Hold on. We're going to talk about value first. Okay. Do you guys want examples or no? We can skip the examples. Do you guys want examples of, I broke down some examples of value, desire, transformation. Let me know in the chat. Just like simple examples for you to kind of conceptualize this of what it looks like to communicate weekly, to have weak sales language and then strong sales language. Let me know in the chat if you want that. If not, I'm going to skip past it. And then we're going to talk about the formula for a potent sales message because that is important as well. I mean, all this is important, but I want to make sure that you guys want to hear. Okay. Yes. All right, Kristen. For Kristen, I'll share them. Okay. So value, communicating value. Here is a weak example of communicating value. You're going to get 6 months of coaching with me, which is like, okay, cool. What does that even like? DM me so we can talk about doing 6 months of coaching with me. Like you're not that, I hate to break it to you. You are not that epic yet. Some people may be like, if it was like Beyonce, like, hey, DM me and let's work together. You'd probably DM her. But for you, someone who finds you on the internet, someone who's been following you for a couple of months, they need something more about why it matters. So you can still say you'll get 6 months of private coaching, but we got to communicate the value where I'll walk you step by step through high ticket sales, attracting premium high paying clients and pricing your offers at their true value. You see the difference there? We're talking about what's included, yes, but then we're also giving them the value, the transformation, right? Like what comes along with that, why they would want to do that. Why does it matter? Why does 6 month coaching matter? What will it do for me? Okay. Here's another one. This will help you improve your business. This will help your business, which most things will help your business. Here's a better example of this will help your business. Imagine being fully booked out with high paying clients who are coming to you, sliding into your DMs, ready to buy. You're not having to push, convince anyone, or chase any leads. That's exactly what we're going to create inside this program together. You see the difference there? They're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I want. You're speaking right to me. Yes, send me the link. Send me the link now, right? Here's another one. You're going to learn how to sell better, which of course, like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll learn how to sell better, but that's not jumping out at me. That's not me. That's not making me be like, oh my gosh, tell me more. Tell me more. No, but this will, not might. So right now you might feel awkward selling. You might feel unsure on how to fully price your offers and own it. You might not feel confident in what you're doing, but inside my program, you're going to master sales conversations. You're going to confidently charge high ticket, and you're going to sign those high ticket clients with ease and never work with another low paying client again. Isn't that more powerful? So these, of course, you have to apply this to these were examples about the sales call, but you have to sit down and make sure you do this for your own business. Be really clear, communicate the value, lead with the end transformation, right? The easiest way to do this when you're creating content, writing an email, doing a sales page, whatever, the easiest way to do this is to think about not like what they're getting, although that's important, the tangible is important, but think about the transformation that they're getting. Like what is the actual transformation that they are going to receive when they work for you? Okay? So here is the formula for a potent sales message. It's what it is, what it solves, plus the transformation. Simple, super simple. Now we can dial this up, we can dial it down. You don't have to follow it specifically, but this is when I'm sitting down, when I'm like sitting down to originally start my offer, start marketing it, whatever. These are things this is what I do. I do what is it, plus what is it solving for my dream client, plus the actual transformation. So inside my program, you'll learn whatever, so you can whatever desired outcome without struggle. Okay. Here's a quick example. Hold on, what was I gonna? Okay. Inside the Legacy Lab, you'll master high ticket sales, elevate your brand into a category one, and build a business that creates wealth for generations without burnout, guess out, or playing small. So that is a strong sales message. They know exactly what it is. It doesn't have to be this long-winded thing. They know exactly what it is. It makes the investment feel like an obvious choice. Of course, I want to create wealth for generations. Of course, I don't want to be burnt out. Of course, I don't want the guesswork. Yes, I want to be working with high-paying clients. Yes, I want it to feel easy. I want to be confident. It sells the vision, the transformation, and the why would they do that right now, right? So we have to stop focusing on just what you do and start showing what's possible. Let me know in the comments. How is this feeling? Is this clearing up some things that you may need to change in your sales, in your content? Let me know. Let me know if you're like, go deeper on that. No, this is landing. I have work to do, whatever it is. Because clients, they don't just want a service, right? That's part of it, but they want a result. They have a desire. They want the transformation. That's why people join things. Are you ladies still with me? Oh, I always I always have work to do after one of your calls. You're awesome, Michelle. I love that you do the work after the call because again, it just separates you from the people who just listen and are like, "Oh, cool. That was so good." And then they don't, right? So I love that. Thank you. Thank you for responding. Okay. Have you heard the facts tell, stories sell? If you were on camera, I would have you nod or thumbs up, but I'm going to assume because most of us have. Oh, hold on, there's more chat. I'm rewriting my website right now, really trying to lean into the talking about the after. Love it. Yes. It lands. Can you say the formula one more time? Absolutely. I can actually drop it in the chat because it's in my notes. Here is the formula. Oh, whoa, where did it go? Here is the formula. It's inside you. Here, I'm just going to drop it for you so you can all read it. I don't know why it keeps going into italics for some reason, but that's what it is. Okay. Maybe because it's bolded on my notes, then I don't know. I don't understand technology sometimes. Okay. So facts tell, stories sell. We've all heard that. Maybe you haven't. Facts tell, stories sell. Because selling isn't about, I've heard, this is actually something I heard in network marketing. My entrepreneur journey started with network marketing when I was 20. It opened the door of possibilities for me. I really was like, oh my gosh, I can create any life I want. After that, for 10 years, here's the other thing. I love hearing people say overnight success is a 10-year journey because that was literally my story. For 10 years, I tried a million things. I tried to be a real estate agent. I tried to be a property manager. I tried to be an insurance agent, all these things on my own. And then I landed in what I thought was my dream job. I was like half remote. I was not working for myself, but I was like, well, I can spend time with my kids. This is like kind of a win-win. I had to go only into the office when they were at school. And so for me, I was settling. And that's part of my story now is like, it took me 10 years to finally like have a wake up moment. Like, oh, this is actually not what I want. And the logistics of that is like, okay, that moves people more than me being like 10 years ago, I did this and this and this, right? So facts tell, stories sell. Selling isn't all about the features, stacking bonuses. This is part of selling. I want you to hear, this is part of selling, okay? Explaining your offer over and over convincing. But it's more about how you make people feel, like when you feel something, when they have a full body experience of like, oh, that feels good. I really want that. When you think of Disneyland, right? Like I love this example of Disneyland, because Disneyland is literally something people buy just based off desire. Do people need Disneyland? No. People who are being like, oh yeah, I can't afford that. I can't afford those $10 eggs, are somehow ending up at Disneyland a month later with their family because there's a desire there, because they feel something there. It's an experience. They're like, oh, of course I'm going to save for 6 months and go to Disney. Because people buy on emotion most times. They don't just buy based on information. The information, like I said, is still important, because there are some people who need that. They need to know what you get, and that's important too. But to drive them, to get them in your DMs, asking you about the offer, it's them feeling something, feeling pulled to you. So they buy because they see themselves in your story, because you've painted a vision that they deeply desire, because you've made them feel understood. So this is why storytelling is your most powerful sales tool. And it's definitely underused because it feels a little vulnerable, I think. It's like, oh, how do I say this? How do I say that? We might go a little bit over. If you have to leave, that's okay. But if you could stay, I would love that. I have just a couple more things. So people buy from people. Have you heard this? I always heard this in network marketing when I was 10 years ago. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. That was something that was like drilled in. They know, like, and trust. They know, like, and trust. And I'd be like, but you're having me just reach out to people that like I barely talk to. How do they know, like, and trust me? And there was this whole sales training. How do you get them to know, like, and trust you? Right. And it was a powerful tool to learn back then, but it's even more powerful now because we have social media, and we can become someone who someone across the world knows, likes, and trusts just through the content we're putting out, just through how we're sharing our story, just through real, relatable, tangible stories. So sharing your brand story, going deep, being okay with opening up, being seen. People ask me all the time, well, I'm afraid of being seen. Like, how do I just show up and like keep posting? Like, what do I do? I'm like, you just show up and keep posting. I always say confidence comes from doing. That's been my like motto from the beginning. Confidence comes from doing, not the other way around. I'm like, do you think I was confident the first time I made a post? No. Second time? No. Third time? No. For like now, it's easy. But because I've built so much trust with myself, I'm confident in it. It's just like I always talk about, for me, it's just like doing dishes. I have never once had a problem doing dishes because I've been doing them for God knows how long, way too many years, right? I've built trust with myself that I know there's dishes in the sink at night. I do them before bed. It's easy. It's not a thing for me because I've done it over and over and over. I've built that trust. So you may need to build some trust with you and how you're showing up online, storytelling to bring people in, to sharing your story. It's okay if it's not perfect. Nobody's expecting it to be perfect. They're expecting to feel something. They're expecting to be like, oh, I feel connected to that. I see myself in that. Again, when I first launched my career as a virtual assistant, my posts were so bad, but because I was showing up and just sharing like, hey, this happened to me and this, and I want to help you do this, I started landing clients so quickly. And that was the one superpower I think I had, being okay with being vulnerable and seen and open on the internet and just going and going and trying and failing and trying again. That's what I want you to leave here today, activated to like be clear on these things we're talking about, the strategy behind it. I do think strategy is important, but also just the energetics of like, I'm awesome. I know I'm valuable. What I bring to the table matters. I'm going to share my story and be proud of it, even if it scares the freaking crap out of me, because we have to move through that. That's the only way. The only way to get through it is to get through it. And I know people hate hearing that. Like I have clients who be like, well, what else can I do? I'm like, this is what you need to do. Well, what else? I know you don't want to hear the same answer again, but this is the thing. Going through it, doing what's scaring the crap out of you. We have to move through that. And then guess what? That goes away. Like then you're like, okay, on to the next thing. Then you have more confidence with yourself. So when you're able to share things you've learned along the way, when you're able to share your story, your audience is going to see themselves in you. They're going to think, oh my gosh, she gets me. She's been there. She was there where I am. She made it through. I have to work with her. She has to be the person I work with. That emotional connection makes them trust you as the person who can get them to their next level. Okay. So, and they aren't just hearing about what you teach, right? They're feeling it. They're feeling it. We're talking about the feeling that comes when you're sharing stories. It helps them see what's possible. Because a well-told story doesn't just educate, right? It makes your audience want that now. There's just something so powerful about storytelling that they're like, oh, it shifts them from, okay, maybe one day I'll do that. I can't afford it, to I literally can't afford to wait any longer. Like, oh my gosh, this is it. So if you've thought about anything, any program you've actually paid money, invested in, think about how you were feeling and why you invested in that. This is how you want your clients to feel. Okay. So for example, if you just pop on the internet and you're like, I can help you raise your prices and build out an offer suite and, start landing high paying clients. That might get people like, hey, asking questions about how do you do that? Or my client Sarah was stuck at 3K months for years because she was afraid to charge more. Within 30 days of working together, she confidently raised her rates, closed a 7K client, and now she's booked out and she's scaled to 15K months. Like, that is so much more powerful. Sharing an experience, telling the story of what happened, right? So they didn't just hear the result, they actually are seeing themselves as Sarah in the story. They're like, oh my gosh, well, if Sarah can do it, I can do it. And you can do this with your story too. I was stuck at 3K months for years, but because then I confidently raised my prices. However, whatever your story is, you put yourself, then they can see you. Because some women come to me and they're like, well, I don't have client testimonials. You are your first client always. Share what happened with you. Share that story. Because storytelling, your personal story is going to be the most powerful. You know what's cool about your story too? And stories that you tell, stories that are your stories. It's the most powerful differentiator because no one else has that story. No one else has walked the exact path that you have. They haven't had that exact experience, that exact perspective. They haven't overcome what you've overcome. Your story builds authority in a way that no sales pitch ever could. Makes you relatable, aspirational. I never thought about that. You are your first testimonial. Yes, you are. You are your first testimonial. Because the reason you're here, you've done things, you've gotten over things, you've overcome limiting beliefs, you have transformed. That's why you're sitting in this room. This is what will make you the obvious choice. It's going to be like, oh, she not only, and here's the thing about people like, well, if I share struggles, like, doesn't that disqualify me? No. And here, you don't have to share like right now, I feel like I'm in a pit. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the actual transformation you've walked through. You can even share it in an empowering way of you walking through it. This is what I'm doing. This is, and sharing the results of what's happening to you. I saw a girl on the internet share that she was in a funk. She came on and shared she was in a funk for the last, I forget how long, let's say 7 weeks. She realized it. She's like, I'm going to show up every day. I'm going to do this, this, and this. Come along on the journey. She woke up. She did everything she said she was going to do. She gave the update 7 days later. She did it again. She did it again. And then you know what? She launched a program called Get Out the Funk, or get out of your funk, or something that, of course, the women who were following and needed that jumped right in. But that was so specific to her. And that's what our business is, right? Something so specific to you, what you've walked through, your story, your transformation, how you've overcome, showing someone the way, showing them that it's possible. Hey, you can do it too. Let me show you. I did it. Come on, let's do it. Right? So instead of saying, I've helped dozens of women build successful businesses, helped so many women. I was laid off within 30 days notice, zero backup plan. Instead of scrambling for another job, I bet on myself. I built a 6-figure business from scratch. Now I help women do the same because I know exactly what it takes to go from uncertain to unstoppable. Isn't that, you're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, right? That's my story. That's actually my story. And that's so more powerful than I've helped dozens of women build successful businesses. You're not just teaching, you're proving why you are, not proving, you're showing, you're not proving, you're showing why you are who they need to learn from. Okay. So here's a quick, another like guideline. Again, I love to leave you with like tangible things. I don't want you to just feel inspired and leave and not do anything. So I just called this the storytelling formula because that's what it is. So you talk about the struggle, the shift, the success, and then the invitation. So for example, I used to feel awkward about talking about my prices. Here's the struggle. I used to feel awkward talking about my prices, afraid people would think I was charging too much. I would over-explain my offer, offer discounts, attract clients who didn't respect my time. Here's the shift. And then I realized people don't pay for what you do. They pay for how confident you are in what you offer. So I changed how I positioned myself, stopped justifying my prices, and started showing up like a CEO. Here's a success. Now I close high-paying clients easily. My inbox is always full of women ready to invest. Here's the invitation. If you're tired of struggling with sales and you want to start confidently closing high-paying clients, DM me sale. Let's make it happen. Like that's like an easy, like super concise. Obviously, you could elaborate, make it bells and whistles, all the things. But the easiest thing, the struggle, the shift, the success, the invitation. That is the storytelling formula that you can use. And again, do you have to follow a specific formula? Of course not. But if you're like, and you know what's cool about this though, the more you do it, the more it'll flow naturally. Like I love giving my clients frameworks because with the frameworks, they can build off of it. You could do a million storytelling posts with this one framework, right? About different things that you've gone through, your clients have gone through that you want to share. So the struggle, what was the pain point and the challenge? So this should match your audience's current reality. I can drop it in the chat if you want it. The shift, what changed? What realization, mindset shift, or strategy created the breakthrough? The success, what's the transformation? Where are you or where's your client now? The invitation, here, I'll put it in the chat. I spelled transformation wrong though, so let me fix that. The invitation, how can they experience this transformation too? Which is going to be your offer, right? Transformation. Okay. So this is, I just called it the storytelling framework. You can call it whatever you want. That's free. You can have that for free. Okay. Whew, I'm getting hot. That means it's good. Okay. So, let me see if I want to. Yeah. So emotion drives action. Okay. So positioning, when you have positioning, because the truth is they don't need, your clients don't need another, because a lot of people talk about positioning, right? If you already know what positioning is, you can drop it in the chat, but positioning is really like showing up as the authority, speaking like the expert that you are. Again, that doesn't mean you know everything. It's, you know what you've gone through, your story. Pricing yourself is actually part of positioning, because if you only have low paying offers, you're positioning yourself to only attract low paying clients, right? So showing up, knowing that there's actually a reason why luxury brands, they don't chase people. They embody excellence and they know that people are going to come to them. They don't lower their prices, right? If you walk into a Gucci store, they're not going to start trying to haggle you and be like, "Oh, well, we can sell it to you for $500 instead of 2,000," right? Like that's not what they do. They sell with certainty. Unlike the call I had, right, that I talked about, they're in demand. So stop making yourself available for everyone. That's the whole repel, attract thing. You're valuable. You're valuable. You're worth what you carry. The world needs. I'm a firm believer that every single woman, no matter what you do or who you are, or what you offer or don't offer yet, what you bring to the table is so valuable. The world needs it. Okay. So let's talk about the most powerful ways that you can make this shift permanent. So, like I said, I'm about to wrap up, but like I said, I don't want you leaving this call inspired, not taking action. And yes, I'm about to sell to you as an empowered leader. And even if you don't come in, I want you to stay. I want you to see how I sell it. Okay. I'm going to sell, and I want you to be like, okay, even if that made you cringe or feel anxious, because it didn't make me cringe or feel anxious. I want you to notice that and be like, because what's interesting too. If you're even doing that when people are selling to you, that might be a reflection of your worth, actually, how you're seeing yourself. So I want you to realize that. Okay. So the fastest way of what I've learned, the fastest way to shift your energy permanently, to get to a place where you're like, I'm owning my worth. I'm going to show up like this. Besides all the strategy, because here's another thing that I fully believe. You can have all the perfect frameworks. I've had clients who have followed the script, do the frameworks, still aren't landing clients, and come to me on calls and they're like, I just don't know what's going wrong. And I'm like, I think we need to work on your identity a little bit. We're going to do an identity deep dive, because you could be saying all the right things, but if you're not showing up in a way that, if you're showing up like this instead of showing up like this, people can feel that, right? Energy is a sales transfer. So being around women who own their value, who hold their boundaries, who sell with ease, who actually pull you up to your level. I heard a study where it was like, if you are around people who are 15% better than you. This is, don't like, not verbatim because I'm going to try to remember, but let's say 15% better than you. It actually automatically makes you come up a level of like 5%. Like you automatically act different, like you come more confidently. But if you're around someone who is 15% worse than you, it can actually drag you down by 25%. That was like the number gap. And I was like mind blown. I'm like, this is wild. What? That's why people say it's so important who you surround yourself with. It's so, the 5 people, or tell me the 5 people you surround yourself with, I'll tell you your life or whatever, right? Because your environment matters. So I want to make sure that you are in and that you understand that you're in spaces that elevate you. Okay, these are the women who win. They're not just the ones making money. They know how to hold it. They know how to multiply it. They know how to build something that lasts. That's what I'm in for. I want to build a legacy for my kids, my family. I want generational wealth. I don't want to be chasing clients. I want to be attracting clients. I want this to be fun. I want this to be easy. The whole reason we're in business for ourselves is because we want that, right? We want it fun. These are the women who you're here, right? You're the cream of the crop, like I've said. So you're not just dreaming about it. You're taking action on it. And I also want to say, I think some of you in here know this. I do not ever preach something I don't do. So when I launched my virtual assistant business, it was scaling very quickly. Before I made my first hire, my team hire, I hired a coach for $15,000. And that's a lot of money. But I knew what I was building was long-term. I knew it was worth it. And I was like, okay, this feels so hard, but I did it. And I'm so thankful for her. She helped me launch my agency. She helped me do so many things. I'm always in rooms with women. And this is why I believe in this so strongly. I think there might be someone in here who is in the same mastermind I'm in right now, a year-long mastermind called The Vortex that I absolutely love and adore. And I'm in a room and I'm constantly pulled and stretched and like triggered in the best way, like, oh my gosh, what did she just say? Right. So these kinds of women are the women that I love to be around, the women who are taking action. So this is what I've created and I'm so excited about. It's a 6-week transformation. It's going to be a space where you're going to step out of hustle into full CEO power. I've never launched this before. Okay. Of course you're getting first dibs. Of course you're getting a much cheaper price than anyone else. So you're not just going to learn how to build a powerful business, learn how to sell. You're actually going to learn how to be iconic in your industry. You're not just going to raise your rates. You're going to raise your standards, your positioning, your entire presence. You're going to leave changed. You're not just going to land dream clients. You're going to become the woman that dream clients seek out. So this space is for the women who are done. They're done waiting. If you said at the beginning, like, I'm done, I'm so in, this is for you. It's called the Legacy Lab, which I also just am obsessed with that name. I'm like, can we make it LL? I don't know. But the Legacy Lab, and it's not just about hitting income goals. That's a big part of it, right? But it's about building a brand and a business that lasts, something that is going to last. We're in this for the long game, but we're going to get quick results. Okay. So this is me selling to you. Do you hear me talking about the transfer? I haven't said one thing about what's actually in it. And I fully believe that all of you are like, oh, this sounds awesome. And if you don't believe that, don't tell me. But this is for the place. You're not here for quick wins and fleeting success. You're actually in this to create something sustainable, something that's it's going to make you so much money, but more importantly, it's going to make you so much impact. It's a business is what I see. Empire. I'm all about building an empire, but it's a business that's actually going to hold weight with people, like to be known, to charge high ticket prices, to know. It's like the Disneyland. Like I want to build all these little Disneylands for women. I want women to have a Disneyland business where people are like, oh, I just have to be in her world. I have to be in Michelle's world. I have to be in Stephanie's world. I have to be in Kenzie's world, right? Like I have to be in her world. So I've created the Legacy Lab, and this is going to be an ongoing program. It's going to be very, very highly personalized because what I'm tired of is I'm tired of seeing brilliant women like the ones in this room who don't feel confident, who aren't having fun, who are hesitating, who are second guessing. Because I truly believe that women, they deserve to create businesses that build wealth and impact for generations. Like this isn't that real, like leave to the men, leave this to the men. No. So I'm speaking to the women the leaders. I think all of you in here are leaders, the ones who are ready to leave a legacy, the ones who are ready to free up their time and know that they're building something that's so much more than money. It's impact, but it's also going to make you a lot of money. This is what it is. It is what it is. Okay. So this is a 6-week high touch experience. Here, I will drop the landing page. You can look at it. We're going to do weekly coaching calls, bi-weekly question and answer sessions with me. We're going to have a community. This is a very, very high touch, 6 weeks of high touch support from me. And if this is for you and you're ready, or if you're like, oh my gosh, I need to do this, click the link, join me. You get like $500 off for being on this call right now. It's going to be $1,500 after 24 hours. I'm jumping the price to $1,500 because really it should be a lot more, but because it's the first time I've ever run it, and I knew there was going to be a small intimate group here, I wanted to give it to you. The total price is $997. Now you can pay in 2 installments and 3 installments. Everyone in this room, I feel like most of you I've talked to before, I would love to have you. And I think that you are a legacy builder. This is for the women who are like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done playing the small game. I'm going to play the big game. This is going to be, again, a super 6-week intimate space. We're going to start April 1st. So this price is going to last through tomorrow for you specifically because you're here. Everyone else is going to get sent the $1,500 price. Don't tell them. But because you're here, you took action. You said yes to yourself right away. That separates you from everyone else. And if you have questions, I'll stay. I know we're over. Thank you for staying. I'm so excited about this program. It's going to be, and you can see on the landing page, if you go through it week by week, what we're going to be doing. It's very curated. It's very specific. It's a journey. It's an activation. If you like this training, if you're like, okay, yes, I feel activated. I feel, oh, I got a framework. I got this. This is me. This is how I teach. I want you to leave feeling empowered because you should, because you're amazing, but also with tools that you can use right now. Like you can jump off this call, not join Legacy Lab, and still have things that you learned from this call to take into your business, right? Frameworks, things I dropped in the chat. That's how it will be, but it'll be on steroids. So this program is going to be this and then some. And then you're going to have full access to me for 6 weeks through chat, weekly calls, coaching sessions. It's going to be chef's kiss. So if you have questions, please drop them. If you have to go, I love you. Thank you for being here. I am so proud of this training. I loved it. Thank you for your engagement. If you have questions about the Legacy Lab, I'll stay on for just a minute. Feel free to turn your camera on. Ask me. I'm here. I'm here to support you. I truly, truly want the women who are like, yeah, I want to be in here. Let's do this. So if that's you, you can, like, I would love to have you. If it's not you, that's okay, right? Like, I'm okay with that. But I just want you to know that if you decide, let's do this. Oh, thank you. Stephanie said, you truly are so good at selling without being icky. I love that. And that's what I want you to be at too. Like, because it's fun. It's easy. It's like, if you want it, I want it. Let's go. Let's do this together. So if there's any questions, I'd love to answer them. If you have things you want to chat about, feel free to drop it in the DMs. You can message me. You can respond to my email. I think all of you are following me on Instagram. If not, I'm sure you got an email to be here. So I love you all. I'm so, so thankful you showed up live today. This is so fun. And I hopefully will see you inside Legacy Lab. You're welcome. I'll see you later.